Hello everybody, Brad the Guitarologist here. Welcome to part 2 of this fascinating history of the guitar strap. In this episode we will examine the remainder of my vintage strap collection, review a handful of the reissued straps by current manufacturers, talk about some of the good, the bad, and the downright ugly in guitar strap designs, and time permitting we'll look at the state of the market for vintage collectible straps and see how much some of them are bringing. It is often said, necessity is the mother of invention. This has only held partly true in the various inventions surrounding guitar straps through the decades. One of the earliest instrument strap patents issued in the United States dealt with a means by which a comic musician could enhance his clown-like performance in a completely unnecessary, but likely very entertaining way. Filed by Frank R. Weaver of Fairgrove, Missouri, this eccentric contraption included an elastic strap which would be, in his own words, supported from the neck or shoulder of the musician, and which had supported thereon a plurality of sound-producing devices that may be operated when the instrument is held in proper playing position, and which are also designed to be sounded by contact with an obstacle when the musician forces the instrument away from him and expands the elastic support, and to be likewise sounded by contact with air currents or the contraption of the support and the return of the instrument to initial playing position. The remainder of Mr. Weaver's application, which was filed in late 1923, goes on to detail every part of his arcane contraption and how each hilarious piece would be fitted to his elastic strap. It seems the chasm between what was necessity at the time and what some people were daring to dream up was immense. Another patent filed in February 1948 by Paul M. Carley of Rutherford, New Jersey, describes a musical instrument support of another variety. Comprised of a harness around the player's neck and a metal bracket system attached inconspicuously to the back of the guitar, the inventor claimed his device solved a unique set of problems. When guitars are played in a standing position, he said, they are usually supported by a bandolier extending around one shoulder of the musician and attached to the neck and body of the instrument. To remove the guitar, it is necessary to lift the bandolier over the head with one hand while holding the instrument with the other hand, and such removal of the bandolier is awkward and time-consuming. It seems that for some people, the plain old over-the-shoulder strap was just too difficult a puzzle to solve quickly. One of the more harebrained ideas of the 1960s, outside a ground war in Southeast Asia, was the 1968 Fender go-around waist belt strap. The idea with this strap, which looks like something Andre the Giant might have worn in the wrestling ring, or something your furniture mover might wear while delivering a refrigerator, was to remove the weight of the guitar from the shoulder. For certain players with specific back problems, shoulder problems, or difficulty breathing, such a system might be a good idea, and at least one well-known guitarist, Don Rich, adopted the technology. Perhaps it was a lack of bigger star power, perhaps it was the $14 price tag, $100 in 2017 money, or perhaps it was the fact that 2 eye bolts had to be drilled into the back of one's precious Telecaster to accommodate the new strap design. Whatever it was, death came soon for the go-around waist belt strap. Despite its does what it says what it does name, it was dropped from the Fender catalog after only 1 year. But this was not to be the last of the go-around waist designs. In more recent years, a company called Slinger Straps has developed a strap which goes around both the waist and the shoulder, allowing the player to adjust which shoulder they'd rather the strap go over and the guitar's neck angle. This, they claim, distributes the guitar's weight to both the waist and shoulder, reducing stress on the shoulder and back. But like most things of superior ergonomics and practicality, the styling leaves one looking about 6 months shy of the nursing home. Yet another strap design which does not seem to have made it beyond the spend massive amounts of cash on the patent stage is this one from the early 2000s. Consisting of two buttons on the back of the guitar connected by a rod or string, this device allows a guitar strap to seamlessly slide anywhere along the length of the bar, theoretically changing the instrument's balance and preventing a condition known as neck dive. Not all dubious strap ideas are bad because they fail to solve a problem. On the contrary, some strap ideas solve one problem but seem to create others in the process. Take the DiMarzio clip lock straps for example. We mentioned these in the first video in this series, and we talked about the problem of having to leave a part of the strap attached to the guitar. What we did not talk about was the finish scuffs that can occur if you leave the strap ends attached to your guitar when it's in its case. The same problem exists with the Planet Waves locking strap. Although the idea is a brilliant one, the plastic locking mechanism will only fit certain strap buttons, and the hard plastic can rub against the guitar finish around the strap button. True innovation is never easy. While the inspiration may be beautiful and the execution elegant, if a product design creates more problems than it solves, or if it fails to catch on with consumers, it could end up a curious footnote in some obscure guy's pretentious Ken Burns-esque YouTube documentary. Okay, here's a whole pile of woven jacquard straps that we're just going to go through these, pick them out of the pile, and see if we can identify them and see what we can say about them. I would be fairly confident in maybe calling this one an ace as well. Let's compare it to a couple of the ones that we've already determined were ace straps. Let's look at this one and compare this one. Buckles are consistent, similar weight. The tongues are exactly the same size. This is a thicker tongue. Rivets, very consistent. Consistent backing. Consistent thread, and yes, indeed the rivets are the same. So I would be comfortable saying that these two were probably made in the same factory and are probably ace straps. Now this one, again, is labeled ace. That doesn't mean it was made in an American ace factory. Now this one's got a different feel to it. The buckle looks thicker to me, and it's definitely made a different way. You can see here the way this is made. It's not riveted. Buckle smaller, different weight to the buckle as well. The backing is definitely thicker and it stays apart more. It doesn't lay flat. It wants to spring apart because of the backing. And the material also looks like it has a propensity to crack. And this is not made in the same place these were made. And this is Japanese for sure. This one has a plastic buckle on it, so we know that this is probably a later strap, and just not doesn't feel very well made. Also, you can see this suffers from the same sort of thing we've seen on a couple of others, where it's not the machine hasn't done as much work, but it's definitely an import of some kind. This one has got some obvious wear, but it has a very nice pattern. It has a buckle consistent with the ace strap that we saw. It has rivets that are very consistent with the ace strap. And just the general feel of this one also is much nicer than some of the others. And also this definitely has the look of an ace strap. If we kind of compare the size, it's almost the exact same size, and the rivet size is very similar, as well as the hardware is very similar. As a matter of fact, this made in USA strap right here is of a lower quality than this one, simply because of the type of material. This is a cotton, and this looks like it's a polyester. Now this one has a different style buckle, has 3 rivets, labeled Connecticut Music. I wonder if they're still in business. This is a design that has been reissued. This is almost positively an import. Very nice import though. This one down here, let's check it out. It's got some fraying, like it's not in really great shape. The backing on this almost looks like a fake wood. The rivets look like at one time they were painted, but that paint peeling off and they're rusted a bit. Lots of greening on this, which usually means some copper content. This is probably the cheapest buckle that I've seen yet. Cool pattern, but just not particularly well made. I would say this is definitely an import. Okay, this one. This one has no rivets at all. It's just sewed straight across, and it's very low quality weave. Probably a polyester material. Pretty cheap feeling overall. I would say this is probably late 70s or maybe even 80s import. This one's interesting. Interesting design. Also interesting buckle. This is the first buckle that we've seen yet that was covered. This is actually a metal buckle, but it's covered in a black vinyl. Suede ends on this. Not particularly well put together. Look at that. On the other end, though, if we look real closely in the suede, we can see this is also a Gibson labeled strap. Probably, I would say, early 80s, if I had to guess. And definitely an import. Okay, this strap, kind of a pleather backing. And this one actually has a sticker on it that says Made in Taiwan. The whole thing just feels sort of cheap. Looks good, but feels cheap. This one's got a little bit of a bent buckle here. I might have to bend that back. Wow, that's too easy to bend. Yeah, that's a very thin buckle. It doesn't have an arch along the edge. That might be the cheapest buckle we've seen yet. The tongue, though, has the 3 rivets. The weave is definitely superior on this to some of the other straps we've seen. So this is actually a nice quality strap with the exception of that buckle. The hardware is also gold in tint. This is definitely an Asian import, but it's one of the better quality ones that we've seen. Okay, this strap is a banjo style strap with the snap hooks on the end. Very nice weave. This strap's in really good shape. This is new. Better buckle than that cheap bendy buckle we just saw. Definitely an import. This one I would say is an import as well. It's got a fawn colored backing, sort of a circular pattern. So that's the same size tongue, same rivets, same buckle, constructed slightly differently. On the other end, these rivets are larger, but we've seen other straps that we thought were Ace straps that look different on this end also. So I don't know. This could be Ace, and maybe it's not. I don't know. This one, nice looking strap. Has a tight weave, but the weave is not very complex. And I don't think this is a very expensive strap. We have a plastic buckle. So I would say this is a later import based on the plastic buckle and the type of weave. I do have one Earth 3 strap in my collection, and here it is. This is an Earth 3 called the Shooting Star. These are cotton straps with a cut leather applique, and Earth 3 straps are being reissued. This is a neat and unusual strap. This is by a company called Silver Eagle Designs. Normally there would be a logo right there, and it's going to be very difficult to see what remains of the logo. And they called these straps pickpockets, and that's because this is a pocket right here where you could insert your picks. Also, this pocket might be a good place to store a slide. So you would have a slide right there at your disposal. It might also be a good place to clip on a capo or something like that. So very cool strap, and made of Definitely an organic material, probably cotton, and real leather on the backing. So it's definitely a nice strap. And there's a rumor online that the guitar player from the band Spirit helped this company get off the ground, or was part of the company or something. I'm really not sure. There's not a whole lot of information out there about Silver Eagle designs. I have two Bobby Lee straps in my collection. This is the first of the two. This one obviously is the woven variety. The weave is very nice. It's nicely machined, and it's also made of cotton. The backing is kind of a fun suede sort of material, and it just feels really supple, very pliable. These were marketed as no scratch guitar straps. Has all the patent number and everything stamped on these, so you really can't rub off the logo on a Bobby Lee strap, on this type at least. The buckle is not the best buckle that we've seen, but it's thicker than the import buckles, and it just seems sturdier. This seems like a really nice sturdy buckle by comparison to some of those imports. So overall, really great strap. Here is the other Bobby Lee strap that I own, and you can see this one is not stamped on the logo, so it will rub off. Very nice piece of leather here. Probably the best piece of leather on any of these straps that I've seen yet. Again, as we saw in the other Bobby Lee strap, this is very nicely woven and a beautiful pattern. One of the things about this is that there's no adjustment buckle on this strap. So when you put this strap on, you better be somewhere in the neighborhood of the length of this strap, otherwise it might not work for you. So those are my two Bobby Lee woven straps. Here are a couple of the Fender woven straps that I have in my collection. The one on the left here is an actual vintage one, and the one on the right is a more recent reproduction that came with like an American standard Stratocaster or Telecaster. You can see by the logos, the one on the left is just a crisper logo than this one on the right, which looks a little clunkier and messier. The headstocks also are a dead giveaway. This one has the 70s style large headstock. And also, if we zoom in even further to the level where we can see the actual weave, this one is definitely an organic material, probably cotton. This one could be some kind of polyester weave. Another easy way to tell on one of these is if you have a reproduction is whether the end is sewed on or riveted on. Also the backing material. The vintage one has sort of a foamy backing material, whereas this one is more of a very thin, almost crumply, pleathery material. Also, this loop is plastic, whereas this one has an actual hardware loop. Okay, one of the great perks of being a guitologist is you get stuff like this. And in this particular box, we can see it's got U.S. Customs and Border Protection. It has been examined, so I'm sure there's no drugs or bombs or anything like that in here. This is from my friends at Levy's strap manufacturer. They sent me a cool hat. Thank you, Levy's. And this is what I had actually requested, is a sample woven strap so that we can kind of compare to our other woven straps in my collection. But they sent me also looks like a polishing cloth, so that's really cool. What is this? Some kind of bag. I wonder what it's supposed to. Is this a computer bag? What is this? Oh, it's like just a multi-purpose bag. Thank you, Levy's. That's awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. All right, let's take a look at this jacquard strap that Levy's was kind enough to send. I will put a link down in the description where you can go get one of these if you would like one. Very nice strap. Just right off the bat, I can see some things that are nicer than the older ones. This is an original 60s Ace, kind of a suede backing attached to a leatherette. Not as nice as the newer Levy's, which is actual cowhide, and you can see how nice and supple that is. As far as the weave itself, I would have to say they're both nice. Both are definitely organic. This is, I'm sure, cotton. This also looks to be cotton, although I have not looked back at the specs on this. The weave on the older one is a little bit tighter, I would say. You can kind of see right there where the weave is just kind of come up just a little bit. You know, and if you wear that a lot, it's just a possibility of snagging that and just kind of fraying out a little bit. The other thing I would say that the old Ace has going for it, which is a little bit better, is this buckle. They've used the same buckle on both this part and on the end. The buckle on the end is a bit large, so if you had this attached, say, to the back of your guitar, this buckle could possibly, I mean, I guess in certain guitar models, I can just see that kind of getting up against your finish, possibly. I think Levy's could improve upon this by taking a clue from the older ones and using a smaller piece of hardware for this part. The other major difference is the newer Levy's is made of plies of cowhide leather on the end. This is also leather, but it's just one ply of leather that's kind of bent around and riveted here. Whereas the new ones, they are stitched all the way around, and you have cowhide on the top and on the bottom that sandwich the strap. So it made a little bit different way. I would say this probably will never come apart in your lifetime. The rivets are also nice to have, but you know, rivets can also fail. So I don't know. I guess it would be, if I was being real nitpicky, I would say maybe, you know, a couple rivets in here in addition to the stitching would be extra nice, but a very small complaint, not even really a complaint at all. They've done a really good job of making it so that the strap does not stick out in the back. See how you kind of have this additional little bit right here because of the riveting? And see, this one is stitched as well as riveted, so that's a really nice way of doing it, but you also are left with this kind of raw edge. In this design, they have no such raw edge. So I would say overall, this is probably a superior way of doing this. Although I would like to see a couple of rivets in there as well, just for, you know, just for longevity. So overall, I would say, you know, it's the Levy's is probably a little bit of a nicer strap, to be honest. Just, you know, for the couple of the reasons I mentioned, you know, you don't have the raw edges, and the backing is way nicer. Much more of a luxurious feel with this as opposed to the old Ace. Also, I was digging around in my strap stash and I found this other Levy strap that I completely forgot that I had. This one has a nylon backing. Real strong stuff, will probably never fray or break on you. That does have that going for it. Not quite as nice as the cowhide version though. This is definitely a nicer strap, I would say, overall. Also, we have a plastic buckle on this one, and the type of leather they've used for the end, I think this is a synthetic on top, and then they've got real hide for the backing. So overall, this strap is a little bit better. This one's still a nice strap. I have to say the plastic buckle is really thick plastic. I don't think it's in any way in danger of breaking easily. I would say the same thing about this end. Not really in danger of breaking easily. And the weave is really nice on the jacquard as well. Feels nice. It's very tightly done, as opposed to this one. You know, again, it's kind of loose on the weave on this one, but that's just the design. This one, I would say I like the weave better, the style of weave better on this, but I like everything else about this one better. Since we're talking about Levy's, let's go ahead and take a look at a leather strap from Levy's. This one is labeled Fender, and these came with the higher end Fenders, like the American Deluxe Telecaster and Stratocaster for a while. They may even still be doing that, I'm not sure. But the nicer Fenders come with a leather strap rather than the other Fender strap. But these, you probably wouldn't know it was Levy's unless you just knew what Levy's were constructed like. But this one is made in Canada, so that's telling you already it's probably a Levy's. And there is the part number F7GP. This one is made in once again the same way that other Levy straps that we see are made. They are, as a matter of fact, you can see the tongue right there is exactly the same size on these two. Same exact buckle. The backing is exactly the same. So they've used the strong nylon stuff that's never going to break on you. Overall, just a very nice strap. It would have been, I guess, a little nicer to have once again metal hardware, but that's just being nitpicky. Metal also will corrode and rust and all sorts of other things too, which this will never do. So, but anyway, that's a look at a Levy's leather strap. Okay, got another package in the mail, and this one is from my friends at LM Straps. Handcrafted in the Heartland, established 1975. Let's see what they've sent me. There's actually more than one strap here, and this one, interestingly, is the same pattern that our friends at Levy sent along. So this is almost like a raw material. So what they do, I think, is import this stuff and then just marry it to the back and marry it to the ends and everything to create their product. Well, let's just take a look at these three straps. This one is an FF16G. This is almost a $40 strap normally. But we can see here, this tongue has a suede backing, which is really nice. That would be very easy on your guitar. Probably the material that would be the easiest on a guitar finish would be this right here, of any that we've looked at. Just looking at the back of it right there, I think that might be a synthetic rubberized material on the top. The back of this, interestingly, is a cotton weave. Very easy on a guitar finish if it rubs up against a guitar finish. And strong as well. They have used plastic buckles. I mean, squeezing that pretty hard, I don't think that's in any danger of breaking on you or collapsing or anything like that. Again, plastic there. You can see this is one big piece. This whole tongue would be, basically double-ended, and they push it through here and then fold it back over on itself and then stitch it to itself. So it's kind of forms a ply here. And this end as well is nicely stitched. There's no rough edge or anything like that as we see on the older straps. So, very nice strap. Okay, this one does have rivets in the construction. It also has metal buckle, or metal hardware I should say, and then a metal buckle here. So that's really nice. This backing, really nice smooth stuff. You got two lines of stitching. The jacquard itself is actually a little thinner, so it's applied so that you get the back is kind of peeking out on the sides here. Here is the model number for this strap. If you want to go check it out, it's FF55GR. Here's yet another type of construction here on this strap. You can see the way this tongue is put on. And this has that's a pickpocket on the back there, I think. So you can stick an extra pick in there. So that's kind of cool. Interesting the way they've done this. They've actually bent this piece, so they've cut it in a half moon. So this is the rest of that piece. And they've left just a little bit along the edges. and then they've stitched it to itself like this, and they've encapsulated this, what I'm assuming is a is like a polyester or polypropylene backing, and this is a jacquard weave. Very nice jacquard on this. Beautiful stuff. And it'll look really nice if you had like an all black suit or something like that. It would just look really classy. Plastic buckle on this one, another plastic end, and stitching across the tongue there. And I love the way they stamp their company logo on all their straps. That's always really nice. And this particular strap is very affordable at $23.99. This is FF-15EO. So there are 3 LM straps. Thank you, LM. Appreciate that. If you recall a little bit earlier in the video, we talked about Earth 3 straps from the 1970s and 80s. Well, in the mail, I got this package. This is from the new owner of Earth 3 straps. He's actually reviving the brand, and we're going to see what one of his new straps is like. This is the gentleman who is reviving the brand was a former employee of Earth 3 straps back in its heyday, and this is what they are reissuing now. They're trading on the Stevie Ray Vaughan connection because that's basically about all he ever wore was Earth 3 straps. Roy Jones is the gentleman's name, and you can find them on earth3.com. Let's check out the strap and see what they're doing here. Okay, so this is a sample strap. It doesn't have any applique on it, but we can see kind of the quality of what they're going to be putting out here. Very similar on the end. The old strap is slightly larger on the tongue. Similarly constructed, and you can see these have held out very well over the years, and I presume this one will as well. It looks like it is genuine cowhide leather. Nice buckles on this. Other than that, we do have organic cotton here. I don't know if it's like USDA certified organic, but what I'm saying is it's not a synthetic material. It feels very nice. As a matter of fact, I would say that it feels better than the old strap as far as, you know, just laying against your skin, the way it feels. Not quite as thick as the old strap, but you can see how coarsely done the old strap is woven together. This one is much more fine, so it feels smoother. Overall, very nice strap, and thank you very much, Roy, for sending this along for evaluation. I will put, again, links in the description to Earth 3 straps. I encourage you to go check those out. Another strap company that's, you know, they kind of cater to the handmade upper end of the market is Souldier. These are handmade in Chicago, as the tag states. This is from my stash that I just kind of use on guitars here and there. One thing I will say about this is that you can, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it does have some wear, and it really isn't, it hasn't been abused, so I don't know, you know, you can see the fuzziness of that right there. This strap really hasn't been worn all that much or abused, and it's just really, it's got some real fuzz going on here. I guess I could take a lighter or something and just kind of singe the fuzz off of that if it really bothered me, but you know, I just don't know how well this would wear over time. The backings are really nice on these straps. They are made from recycled seat belts and extremely strong. If you've ever, you know, gotten in a car and felt of the seat belt, you know what this feels like. It feels very smooth, nice against your skin, and very, very strong. The hardware on these are metal, and they're just overall a well put together strap. Again, we see that the tongues on these are made in such a way that there are no raw edges. What they've done is they've actually bent these over. This is one large piece, and they've bent it over and sewed it to itself so that there's nothing raw about that. So they've made this in a very nice way. Nicely made strap, but again, I don't know how well the jacquard will hold up over time given the amount of wear that I'm already seeing here. Another boutique strap maker is Jamz Handcrafted Straps. These guys have an Etsy store. You can go on there. They also have a presence like on Facebook. They're kind of a small operation, and they do their straps, I think, mainly to order. And what they do sometimes is you can actually send them, you know, old pieces of clothing, like military uniforms. If you were in the military, they'll take your name tags and everything from your uniform and make a strap just for you. I would say the ends are made well enough. I don't see any reason to fear that would come off of there. Very nice the way they've stitched that. I don't think that's coming apart anytime soon. They do have plastic buckles, but they are fairly thick. I don't foresee any real issues there. It would be nice to have metal, you know, especially with something that's handmade, but you know, this is all cotton. Now what they've done here is they actually have a nylon strap. They've taken a nylon strap and they've covered it in this cotton on the outside. So the nylon is completely encased inside of the cotton. So really nice feel to this, and the cotton is not doing any work in terms of holding up the guitar. It's all of that work is being done by the actual nylon on the inside of this strap. So this should last forever and a day, I would say, just based on the way it's made. So that's another company. If you're interested in handcrafted, made to order, check out Jamz. Okay, that concludes part 2 of our fascinating history of the guitar strap. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. If you have, please hit the subscribe button below. I may come out with future episodes in the strap vein. I do have a couple of other ideas for videos, and I have one company that was supposed to send me a strap for evaluation that has not arrived yet, and I'm not exactly sure why. It was coming from a long way away, and I have recently moved, so I had to have mail forwarding installed, and I don't know if it's gotten mixed up in that or what. But if it does arrive, if and when it arrives, I will give that its own separate video evaluation, so it'll kind of be a plus actually for them to get their own video. But yeah, so that concludes this particular video, and also in another video about straps, I may actually try to make my own and see how I can fare making my own strap with raw materials. My wife is a seamstress, and she has some very good sewing equipment. She has her own sewing business and everything as well. So we'll see how that goes. That might be an interesting one too. So please subscribe to check that out. And for now, y'all take care.